Hi, this is David Wright, and you're listening to WICR.
Hello, everyone. We are back for another installment of AM Sports with Sachs, Madeo, and Edwards after a 2-week hiatus. Hello, fellas. How's it going?
How you doing, Ian?
How you doing, Ian?
I'm doing just great. I mean, March Madness is in full throttle. Let's go. All right, we've got a great show for you today with a lot of March Madness going on. We have our first segment. We're going to be talking about the first weekend of the tournament, in which we saw the field dwindle down from 68 teams all the way down to the Sweet 16. That was great. That was great. I love having the tournament go from noon to midnight. I mean, that was my whole day right there. It was great. Okay, so what did you guys think of the first weekend?
The first weekend was pretty fun. It was entertaining, as Ian said, watching games from 12 to 10 o'clock at night. There was a lot of key upsets. A lot of people didn't see Duke being upset. And who else? That was the biggest name in the first round that got upset, right? Duke?
Oh,
I don't think anyone else really.
Certainly, I think Duke was definitely the only top 4 seed that got upset. And
there was a couple in the second round, like Creighton. I thought Creighton was gonna at least. I thought they had them in my Elite Eight.
Oh no! I had Creighton losing to Baylor.
Yeah. I mean, both teams played different, as we saw. Creighton's an offensive team. They like to expand the perimeter. They like to shoot from the outside, while Baylor is defensive-minded, oriented basketball team, and they're inside and they're blocking shots. And Creighton, the whole game, they couldn't rebound.
Baylor did an exceptional job of shutting down Creighton's high-powered offense with Doug McDermott.
And even that Raji guy, he shoots threes too. He only had 7 points.
Right. They were absolutely phenomenal. I had that upset from a mile away. I have Baylor in my Elite Eight.
Yeah.
So
they're good.
I'm really riding their.
I like the
storm.
guy who's partially blind in one eye. What's his name? He's the center. He's really good.
Oh, I forgot his name.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know the guy you're talking about though. Yeah.
He's a great shot blocker.
All right. Yeah. So Baylor, I was very happy with the way that they just destroyed Creighton. Yeah. I mean, it was awesome, and I was like, absolutely. I had that game from a mile away.
Like the reason why is because the rebounding margin. Creighton's leading rebounder was that Raji guy with 3 rebounds. If someone's leading your team with 3 rebounds the whole game, that has to say something about how the game went.
That's not a good sign.
No. Go on, Sean.
Oh no, I was just seconding that. That is not a good sign.
The game of basketball, you need to make stops. You need to box out your opponents, get the rebounds, and lead into transition. If you're not doing that, then you're bound to lose, and that's what we saw with Creighton. That's why they lost by 30 points.
Yeah, I heard. I remember thinking. I think it was. I don't know if it was one of my basketball coaches or I remember someone saying that you could have a great defensive series, but if you give up an offensive rebound, then it was all for naught. Yeah. So, absolutely.
There was a couple of possessions I remember distinctly when they had 4 or 5 offensive rebounds on one possession. Way too physical inside. That's how you're supposed to win games. You have to be physical. You have to dominate in the post, and that's what they did.
Offensive rebounds are
key.
Definitely a key to winning games, and that stat that you said with the Creighton's leading rebounder had 3 rebounds for the whole game.
Yeah, there's a couple guys with 3 rebounds.
That's just that tells the story right there. I mean, you are not going to win any games, even if you're playing a little, first grade CYO team.
Yeah.
You're not going to win any games. Only getting 3, having your leading rebounder with 3 rebounds. So we talked about this game a little. We touched on it a little earlier. Mercer and Duke.
That game.
What do you guys? Why? What is your opinion on how Duke lost? Why Duke lost?
Sean?
Well, my opinion on how Duke lost was basically they lived and died by that three. Although they
Exactly.
made 17 of them.
They did, but they had a very limited amount of buckets in the paint.
Oh, definitely. They got destroyed in the paint.
And you know
by us.
another reason why they lost is because of Jabari Parker was in foul trouble most of the game.
Oh, yeah.
And he didn't, when he was on the floor, he didn't have one of his best performances either. But I'm saying if Jabari Parker was not in foul trouble, he is their best player. He would have impacted the game, and they could have won.
On top of that, I mean, the free throws. I mean, the differential between free throws and attempted. You have Mercer. Mercer shot 28 free throws to Duke's 13 free throws.
You know what? Yeah, exactly. You know what the other problem with Duke is? Sometimes I feel like they tend to settle into isolation basketball. Like I was watching this guy Suleiman on Duke. He was shooting some outrageous shots every once in a while, and I was like, Coach K, what's going on here? This is not how Coach K usually plays. So I just think the isolation basketball and their tempting for the threes was the reason why they lost.
That's a good point. They for stretches in that game, they did not play Duke basketball. And I think that's a big reason as to why they got upset by Mercer. And really, it was a little reminiscent of 2 years ago.
Lehigh.
Yeah, the Lehigh game.
Oh, yeah, the Lehigh game. They lost that one. That was another early disappointing loss on that part of Duke.
Yeah, that was when two seeds got upset by 15 seeds on the same day. It was Duke losing to Lehigh and Norfolk State upsetting Missouri. I remember that killed
That
my
was a great game.
that killed my bracket. I had Missouri. I had Missouri in the Final Four, so that didn't exactly help me.
Do you think that a reason why they could have lost is because Duke might have they might have took them by advantage, thinking that they were better than Mercer, thinking that this was being an easy game. That's why they were shooting all these threes. They were playing with them. Do you think their ego got in their way?
You can never play to the level of your competition, or what you think the level of your competition may be.
Yeah.
I think that there definitely could be some truth to that.
Mm-hmm.
That Duke came into this game, hey, we're Duke. Look, thinking about the name on the front of the jersey, looking at that. But when you get to the NCAA tournament, the name on the front of the jersey means absolutely nothing. You gotta play the game. You gotta show up, and you gotta play 40 minutes of basketball, and it's survive and advance.
Exactly.
And yeah, that's great. You're Duke. You've won, 4 national championships in the last 25 years. But still, you gotta show up, and Duke just didn't do that. One of the main reasons was Jabari Parker. He didn't have an exceptional game, and a lot of people are now questioning both he and
Wiggins.
Andrew Wiggins, who neither one of them had exceptional games in their two teams' losses. Kansas losing to Stanford in the round of 32. Do you guys think that their poor performances in the tournament will hurt their draft status come June?
Well, I mean, on the part of Wiggins, I mean, people are going to say credit the loss, to the absence of Embiid, But, I mean, the reason why you got to place a lot of blame on the part of Andrew Wiggins is because you're apparently the supposed, freshman, I guess, phenom that, people have been talking about and anticipating. And, you're the guy that they put the ball, you're the guy who the ball comes in your hands basically in crunch time, and to only have 4 points on 1 for 6 shooting.
But Jabari Parker was in foul trouble though most of the game. He played only half the game. Wiggins played a good amount of minutes. Wiggins just had an off game. Jabari Parker didn't play that good either. He had a couple turnovers. He missed some easy shots, but he made there was one play in particular. He made a nice spin move, and he missed, got the rebound, and went up strong, got an one. He had some good moments in that game. Wiggins had absolutely no moments.
Absolutely no moments. And
he played 32 minutes out of 40. Jabari Parker played 20, in the early 20s. He didn't play that much. So I think Wiggins, his stature of when he'll get drafted will definitely drop.
Yeah.
But I don't see Jabari Parker dropping.
It's lack of aggression.
What do you
really
think, though, Ian?
disappointing.
What do you think about this?
I think neither one of them, their draft status is really going to change too much. I think there's not really anybody that's like stepping up and playing absolutely phenomenal lights out, like coming out of nowhere in the tournament. I don't think, unless someone in the next few rounds just plays lights out and absolutely impresses the scouts, I doubt that Wiggins and Parker's draft statuses will drop too much. Do you think that they should come back for their sophomore seasons?
Most definitely.
Yes.
There's flaws about both of these players, and they can strengthen their differences. And I think they could definitely be solid players in the NBA, but they're definitely not NBA ready. I give them one more year.
Yeah, they're not NBA ready. Like when I saw Carmelo in his freshman year at Syracuse, that was a man amongst boys to me. And when it comes to these guys, I mean, Wiggins, he's a freshman, but I don't see the man in him amongst the rest of these guys.
I mean, look at the guy in Michigan State, Adrian Payne. He's been in the league. He's a senior, isn't he? He's been there all 4 years, and look at him. Every year he's progressed into a monster, and that's the magnitude that Wiggins and Jabari Parker could reach if they stay another couple of years. They get experience from their coaches.
Absolutely. I think that they can make themselves great players if they stay in college for another
There's
year,
no rush.
2 years.
There's no rush. And if you think about it, if they rush, they could get cut by a team because they're not fully ready.
Look at Hashim Thabit a few years
Yeah.
ago. Number 2 draft pick, and then went to the D League, and then was
Never
getting
fully developed.
no.
Good point.
I think that's one of the problems with the college game, that a lot of people are just saying, okay, we'll do this for a year and then we'll go make the money in the NBA. Well, okay, you've got your first contract, yeah, okay, you're making big money. But if you really love the game of basketball, you should say, I want to be the best that I can be. And the way that I could be the best that I could be is by staying in college 2, 3, 4 years, fully developing my game there, and then entering the NBA, where you're playing against 30-year-old men who have been competing at that level for 8 to 10 years. So I think they should absolutely stay in college for at least one more year. And really, do you want to end your college career with disappointing losses in the round of 64 and the round of 32? No, you want to go to college and you want to compete. If you're at those schools, and that's the expectations at Kansas and Duke and schools like that in Kentucky.
Prestigious schools in basketball.
Exactly. Where if you're going to those schools, the expectation and the desire to them shouldn't be, oh, I can go here for a year and then go to the NBA. The expectation and desire should be, we can compete for a national championship 4 straight years. And I think that's one of the flaws of the college game, that a lot of people are starting to think more about the NBA than college. Before we wrap this segment up, there's one more game that we absolutely have to touch: the Wichita State-Kentucky game.
Oh, that was phenomenal game. Kentucky, they're making noise. They're not looking like the Kentucky from the regular season. Everyone's healthy now. They're playing in unison. They're gonna be. Don't be surprised if they knock off Louisville. Do not. It's gonna be a really good game. It's gonna be a very good game. The Harrison brothers, Julius Randle, those guys are impactful players, and upset alert.
These two teams scored off at the end of December. Every year they score off right around New Year's Eve, and it is an absolute battle every single year. And I remember I was watching the game, about 3 months ago, and it was phenomenal. The two teams play each other at such a high level that this is going to be an absolute war.
Yeah.
And I can't wait.
But yeah, like Wichita State, I definitely think they earned that #1 rank. They played a hell of a game. Both teams played great. You just enough said. Like, it was a great game. No one, I mean, you couldn't sum it up any better.
Everyone has
They competed, both teams.
everyone that I've heard has been characterizing this game as having the feel of an Elite Eight game, and it absolutely had that. And really, yes, Wichita State lost.
They
but
showed they could compete, though.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They showed that we're good enough to be in a conference with Kentucky or Duke or all any of these other teams. They proved the point that don't judge us by our conference, judge us by our overall performance.
People try to say, oh.
Exactly, and they Kentucky was shaking in their boots. They almost lost that game. That guy was so close to hitting that three-pointer. I think that Early should have shot it because he was killing that whole game. That guy was nonstop. But it was a great game, and they definitely earned their #1 seed, without doubt.
Wichita State definitely showed that they can play at that level with Kentucky and Louisville and Duke and Kansas and all of them. So we will take a quick break, and then we will be back to preview the matchups that are tonight and tomorrow. Stick around.